Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. We have Brother Alex today, and he has very interesting story and journey to Islam. Brother Abulhadi, the new name, welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
You went through difficulties last few years. You into Islam in your journey here in Hawaii.
Yes.
So you told you about your accident,
Mm-hmm.
motorcycle,
Right.
and I was told that you give it to somebody with a motorcycle that cost you about $10,000.
Yes.
You give it to someone
I
for
gave
for
it to him for
very-
like $100, I think. So.
yeah. We like to know the details about this accident and motorcycle that it cost $10,000. You give it to for $100,
Yeah.
and also the sad accident for your wife and for your son.
Yeah.
But let us leave this and go back
Okay.
to your childhood.
Yeah.
Tell us about where you born, where you raised, and if there is any other sign that it takes you to Islam from childhood. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I was born in Detroit.
Detroit.
In Detroit,
Michigan,
Michigan.
yes.
Yep. I was raised there. Unfortunately, my parents weren't very nice. They were addicted to alcohol and drugs, so I pretty much raised myself.
Yes.
There were times where Allah made His presence known, either through people or through incidences.
Yes.
But at the time, I was so focused on me and the dunya, the world, that I didn't recognize the message or the sign that He was trying to show me. So I raised myself, graduated high school.
Where in Michigan, by the way? 'Cause
Detroit.
I lived in Michigan.
In Detroit. I
for
grew up
2 years.
I grew up on a street called West Montana between Woodward and John R. Went to Franklin Cody High School.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was either Cody or Redford, depending on. I was like one block north, so I fell into the Cody district.
Yes.
It was a good school. I studied very hard to get an education. Met a woman.
So you finished elementary school, middle school,
Yeah.
and high school in Michigan.
In Michigan, in Detroit.
In
Yeah.
Detroit,
Yeah. 1987 is when I graduated high school.
Yes.
So, and from there I just kind of went on with my life. Just kind of hung out and worked and stayed to myself, basically. I didn't, because of my parents being how they were, very abusive, I wasn't very trusting with people. So I didn't really allow people close to me.
Yes.
And-
You have brothers and sisters?
No, I was the only child.
Oh.
Yeah, so there were no other children born into my family that I know of. I mean, if they had kids after I left at 14, I don't know.
You left at 14.
Yeah, I left at 14.
Lived them at 14.
Slept on friends' couches, grandmother's extra bedroom. My grandmother kind of knew what was going on, but for some reason really didn't want to get involved. So she would just let me stay at her house, and she tried her best to watch over
In
me.
Michigan?
In Michigan, yeah.
Yes, yes.
And then I got older, and I moved to Florida and met a woman. We dated for about 6 months, and decided, you know what, your stuff fits with my stuff. We both work hard, and we both don't do drugs, we both don't drink. Let's get married.
Yes.
So we got married. A few months after that, she informed me that she was gonna have a child.
Yeah, okay.
So
So, by the way, dating is haram in Islam. We have something called engagement khutbah.
Right.
Khutbah, when you want to marry a woman, you go to her family,
right.
talk to them, and you can talk to her with mahram, president,
Okay.
with the family for a while, just to know each other.
Right.
It's called khutbah.
Okay.
Nothing, khutbah not allow you to do anything or to
Right.
until their actual marriage.
Okay.
Then you can live together. That's just to.
Okay.
So when I do that, doesn't mean that I agree with you.
Well, that's good to know, Dan. Yeah. Her and I's engagement was kind of different because I didn't really do a lot of that behavior just because of the abuse. So basically, I went to her father and I said, look, I like your daughter.
Yes.
I'm going to take her to the movies. I'm going to take her out to dinner.
Yes.
And other than occasionally holding hands, that was
No,
pretty much it till we were married,
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
go back because this is the
Yeah.
time of Jahiliyyah. We said
Yeah.
the ignorance time before
Yeah.
Islam. It's when you come to Islam later,
Right.
Everything will be by
Yeah.
Yes. I just let the people know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got married and she had a son. We had a son, and we just kind of, for the first 6 years that he was alive, we just kind of.
When this happened?
Yeah. The birth,
The marriage.
the marriage. Let's see, he's been gone 4 weeks. He was 6.
No, the
5.
marriage. The marriage.
It happened
Because
2024.
so the life between Florida and this day, what happened?
Oh, not a lot. I mean, me and my wife just worked, and
So what the date of marriage?
we got married, let's see, 15 years ago. This is 24. So 2018, 2017?
Okay.
I'm not very good at math in my
Yes,
head,
okay.
but we were married for 15 years. We dated for 6 months,
15 means
and then we were married for 15
2005,
years.
for
So
cousins.
2005 is
Yes,
when we
okay.
got married.
this was in Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that,
After we got married, we just kind of did the husband and wife thing. We worked, built a house, built a life. And one day she came to me and she said, what do you think about having kids?
Oh.
And I said, well, we have a nice home. We both have nice jobs. We can raise them right and afford to have them. Sure, let's have a child. So we started trying, and then she told me, that she was with child, and I said, okay.
so you lived together for like about how many years without kids? 10
About
years?
10,
10
yeah,
years.
about 10, almost 11 years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and I don't know if it was her mother instinct or woman instinct, but she just decided I would like to have a child. And she didn't care if it was a boy or a girl.
For your information, in our back home Arabic culture, I don't know about Islamic culture in the other countries. When the couple married
Right.
within the family, and they don't have child, baby for 1 year, 2 years, the mother-in-law start to ask,
Oh,
is there any good news?
no. It's the same thing in America.
Really?
The mother-in-law starts to, you guys been kind of together for a minute. I kind of like to be a grandma, or she'll do things like show up at the house with a coffee cup that says proud grandmother.
Really?
So yeah, so
It's heaven. Yeah.
they do the same thing here, Imam. Then it's always the mother-in-law that starts it.
Yes.
Hey, no, I could be a grandma, you know. So yeah, mother-in-laws are the same way here
Yes.
in this culture.
Okay, that's funny. So after 10 years, we decided to have a child.
Yeah.
And
I had a 8-pound bouncing baby boy, healthy. Um, her pregnancy went well. There were no complications, and
yes,
he came into the world. And the second I saw him, um, it was different
yeah,
because I was when the nurse handed him to me, he literally turned his head and looked at me. I have no idea what he was thinking, but and when our eyes locked, it was just, it was like I was complete, like there was a piece of me missing, and now it wasn't missing anymore.
yeah.
And I knew I was responsible for a life.
Mm.
I was responsible to raise him to be a man, how to act, what to say.
Mm.
Um,
It is emotional
yeah,
and
it was a very
moment,
emotional
moment. Yes,
moment in my life. So
yeah. What his name?
his name was Alexander David Smith.
Oh.
That was his full name. So
And then, what happened?
um, for the first 6 years, we just kind of,
Happy family.
yeah, happy husband, happy wife, happy kid. I pretty much made his mom mad every day because I spoiled him rotten. I wanted him with me all the time. I bought him stuff that he wasn't going to use until he was a teenager, but um, I wanted him to have everything and never want for anything.
You had this motorcycle at this time, or
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
We had a motorcycle, and I was coming home from work, just a regular day, and he was probably about, I think he was 3, going on 4 years old,
yes.
and a drunk driver hit me from behind doing 110 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
I never saw him coming. I was just riding down the highway and
Highway.
yeah, like here, but the mainland, they're a little faster. They do like 70
Oh,
miles an hour. Here in Hawaii, it's what, 50, I think, on the highway,
yes,
45.
yes.
They're at 70, 75, 80 is what they do. And
This was in California.
this was in California.
Yes.
Never saw him coming. I woke up and I thought it was just the next day. And I'm laying in a hospital and I was thinking to myself, this doesn't look like my motorcycle. Where am I? And they had a breathing tube down my throat because I was in a coma for 3 months.
3 months.
3 months I was in a coma. So I woke up and I was trying to figure out what had happened. I was very confused. I was obviously in a hospital. I had this tube in my throat. So I started to try to move body parts, and I said, okay, well, I can wiggle my fingers and I can move my arms. Well, when I went to move my legs, they wouldn't move.
Oh,
So I thought, well, I don't know what's going on, but this can't be good.
and your wife and
My wife and son were in the room, and she's looking at me like in a state of shock. And I'm trying to figure out, why is she looking at me like she hasn't seen me in
Yes.
100 years? I just
Three-
saw her yesterday.
3 months in the coma, you know.
Yeah,
And did you
so-
know when you're gonna come back?
Yeah, so she ran out of the room, and then all these doctors came running in, and started to explain things to me.
Yes.
And told me try not to talk because I had this breathing tube thing down my throat, and they were going to remove it. And once they did, it's a husband and a wife inside joke. They took the tube out of my throat, and I looked at my wife, and I asked her, "Where's my motorcycle?" Because my throat was very irritated from this thing. Well, she started laughing, and the doctors were confused because they didn't get what was going on. Because I've been riding motorcycles since I was like 8 years old. So, yeah, so it was kind of part of like who I was, you know. And the doctor looked at me and my wife and said,
But sorry to interrupt you. You don't recommend the motorcycle for driving, especially for youth, yeah?
No, well, I mean, I rode for 20 years, and it was the first accident I was ever in. I mean, they're dangerous, but you know, Allahu Alam.
Allah, okay.
You know, it's not for everybody though. Some people don't like being exposed to everything. In a car, you have an airbag and a seatbelt, and a motorcycle, you're just kind of, you know, there's nothing around you. So
More risky, yeah.
Yeah, very risky, and some people don't do well with that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So what doctor told you?
So the doctor said, you know, I don't mean to be rude, but I just informed you and your husband he's going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life. And his first question is, "Where's my motorcycle?" And my wife didn't miss a beat. She looks right at him and goes, "That's my husband." Yeah. He wants to know where his motorcycle is.
And he told you you're going to be paralyzed for the rest of
he
your life.
said I would be paralyzed the rest of my life. Apparently the L1 on your spine, which controls sensation and motor function to your legs, had been damaged. And we started laughing again, and again we had to explain it to the doctor because my wife looked at the doctor and said, "We find it tragic he's going to be paralyzed the rest of his life. But what we find funny is you think he believes you." Because at that point, I didn't really know who Allah was, but I knew something other than me was controlling things.
So you don't believe the doctor 100%?
Nah.
50%?
Maybe 45, 40.
45.
Yeah.
What about 47%?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. So at that point, I knew something greater than me was controlling the universe and what was going on.
Yes.
I didn't believe I never have believed how Christians believe.
Yes.
There's just things that, I'm a logical guy, and logically, Christianity made no sense to me. So
until this day, you never heard about Islam?
no, until then, I mean, other than, you know, what you see on TV, but that's not really true stuff.
You know that you were born in the area that the most popular Muslim in America?
Well, that I figured out once I, you know, got a little more awake.
I just want to say that Muslim community have responsibility,
right,
to spread Islam around their area. So it doesn't make any sense somebody born and raised in Michigan, in Detroit, and never heard about Islam.
Well, not that I didn't hear about it. It was. It never seemed like the right message. Like you would see a Muslim, but
You never meet any Muslim.
No, you would see them, but I don't know if it was the area or neighborhood or just this day and age, people aren't very friendly or. And I thought, that's, they were kind of.
What made you not believe the doctor, and you don't lose the hope?
Because I raised myself since I've been 14. And I've proven to myself, I mean, now I know better, but then the thinking was, I had proven to myself I can do anything I want to do and anything I set my mind to. And nothing is going to stop me. Now I know why I was able to do what I was able to do because it was a law. But then the thinking was, it was dunya thinking, it was world thinking, it was, I can do anything I want to do, I'm a man, kind of thing. So, so that's what made me just go, no, I'm not going to be paralyzed, you're wrong, sorry, not going to happen. So, but yeah, we just went from there, and then one day I was coming home from work and I heard the adhan.
Adhan.
I didn't know what it was. I mean,
So you're still working while you are using wheelchair?
yeah, I had it's called a trike or a 3-wheel motorcycle.
Yes.
It has 2 wheels in the back. A friend of mine built a cage where I could roll the wheelchair up to it, and then lock the wheels in place, and then everything was hand control. So I could still ride, it just had 3 wheels instead of 2. And I was coming home and heard the adhan, and I didn't know what it was, but I was like,
Or in the masjid, in your way?
It was in Detroit where I heard the adhan. I was coming home from work.
So you went back to Detroit?
Yeah, I went back for a little while, just to visit and help out my wife's family a little bit. They needed a little help, so I went back for about 3 months, 4 months, something like that. So I was coming back and I heard the adhan, and I was like,
So the adhan was.
it was being called, from one of the masjids.
Hamtramck.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Because it was a suburb. It wasn't Detroit City. It was like...
Because the Hamtramck area, they got approved from the city to announce the adhan.
So that's probably the mosque I heard it from then.
Yes.
And I was sitting at a red light, and I thought, wow, I don't know what that is, but that is the coolest song I've ever heard. Because it was like a song and a poem kind of tied into one. It just flowed.
Yes.
Like it was rhythmic, it rhymed, it just kind of flowed. And I was like, wow, I've never heard anything like that again. So I went home and I told my wife, I said, honey, I heard this song was great. I've never heard what it was. A few days went by and I heard it again, but this time I was smart enough. I pulled out my cell phone and did a voice recording on the adhan being called. So when I got home, I told my wife, I said, hey, I heard that song again. This was it. And there's an app she had called Shazam. And what you do is, if you don't know the name of a song, you play it in this app.
Really? What's the name again?
Shazam. And the app will tell you the name of the song, who the artist is.
Interesting, yeah.
So the explanation it gave was Islamic call to prayer.
Oh, interesting.
It didn't say like a specific name. It just said Islamic call to prayer was the answer.
So the application recognized that then and give you the exactly description of it.
Yeah, it just said Islamic call to prayer. So my wife goes, Islamic, like Muslims? I'm like, I guess, I don't know. never really talked to Muslims. I don't know. She goes, yeah, you don't like religious people. I go, yeah, I really don't. Most of them are fake, so I stay away from them. But like that song kept, like I kept playing it over and over again, and the word I used back then was haunted. Now the word I use is pulled. Because like there was, every time I would hear it, it would just pull me and make me want to know what he was saying. Like why did these words that I have no idea what the English meaning is have so much over me? Like,
Yes.
why am I so interested in knowing what this means? So we were in San Diego, and I went up to a Muslim, and I said, "What's that?" Islamic call to prayer.
How you know that he's Muslim?
Oh, he had a kufi on.
Kufi, yes.
Yeah, he had a kufi and he had a beard, but he didn't have a thobe on. He had like a long shirt with pants.
Yes. Yes.
So
Pakistani style,
yeah,
yes.
so I figured he was either Indian or Muslim, one of the two. Yeah, well, alhamdulillah, he turned out to be Muslim.
Yes.
So he said, well, the call to prayer is called the adhan.
Yes.
And the reason it is, you heard it, was because 5 times a day we have to pray. It's obligatory.
Yes.
And before every prayer, this is called.
Yes.
And it's called to draw brothers out of the world, away from their activities, to let them know it is time to pray. And I said, oh, okay. I said, do you have an English meaning for this? He goes, yeah, I can write it down. And he literally wrote it down. And I thought, that's pretty cool. It sounds better in Arabic, but that's pretty cool, the meaning. And that started the investigation into Islam. But I wanted to make sure that when I asked a question, it was the answer I needed, not the answer you think I need to hear. So I started to ambush Muslims. I would go up to a Muslim like I knew nothing and go, hey, that's a interesting little thing on your head. What is that? And he'd say, oh, it's a kufi. And I'm like...
But you find Muslims friendly, answer the question, and not like feel that you are attacking them or something?
Oh, no. Most of them were very open, and the third Muslim I talked to actually said, look, I don't have time to answer your question, but here's my phone number.
Very polite, yes.
Give me like 2 hours and give me a call. And I did. In 2 hours, I called them. And the question was, what is an angel? Was the question I had for him. Because I wanted to know like what an angel was. What was the purpose of angels?
Yes.
I mean, you hear stories, oh, everybody has an angel assigned to them, or there's angels watching us, or God created angels. But if you avoid religious people and avoid asking questions, you don't read anything, you don't know. So I would just ask them off-the-wall questions, like, why do you pray 5 times a day? Why do you wear that thing on your head? How come this? Or why do you have a beard? Or why do women dress a certain way? Why can't they just dress how they want to dress?
By the way, you didn't try to ask question to Muslim sister?
Oh, no. No,
What?
no, no, no,
Why?
no, no.
Why?
I was kind of scared, actually, because you can't see them. It's like all you can see is their face. I'm like, I don't know.
Out of respect, yeah?
Yeah, just, that's a girl. I don't know her. I'm not just going to, I didn't want to scare her. Some dude walking up to her on the street and be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
So just out of respect, because she was a woman, I didn't really want to approach one.
But you know
what I
she's
mean?
Muslim.
But I knew she was Muslim because how she was dressed. So,
Yes, yes.
and just out of respect, I just didn't want to approach her.
Yes.
A couple of times there were Muslims that I approached that had their wives with them.
Yes.
And I would walk up to where he and I would make eye contact, and I'd say, I would like to talk to you. And I would make sure I was looking like directly at him. And I wouldn't walk any closer. I would just stay kind of like from, 10, 12 feet away. And then I would wait for him to walk over to me.
Oh.
Just because you don't know me.
Yes.
I'm some strange guy. I don't want to walk too close to your family. It could lead to,
Misunderstanding.
a misunderstanding or a fist fight or so. I would do it that way, and I would wait till they walked over to me, and then I would ask the question. And the first serious question I asked, when I stopped asking the little silly questions about your kufi or your beard, was, who is God?
This is the main question.
Yeah. Like that was the first serious question, like, who is God? And then the next question was, what is it in you that makes you believe God exists? So those were the two first serious questions.
Did you find the answers?
Not the ones I wanted, but I did find answers. It was a general explanation of God. He's the one that created everything we know, or he knows everything, or he sees everything.
You didn't try to go to the mosque and to
No.
explore?
No, I think I tried to go to a mosque once in the beginning, and it was closed. So I was like, oh. But there was like little flyers out front, like little booklets out front, just what is Islam, like little general kind of thing, nothing serious.
Outside the mosque?
Outside the mosque in like a little box.
Yes. You take one?
Oh yeah, I took a couple of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once like I kind of had an understanding of who Allah was, and what our purpose is, like why did He create us, kind of thing. That's when the questions got very detailed. It was like, okay, you're Muslim. Why do you pray 5 times a day? What's said in your prayers? Why is your book different from the Bible? Why is your way of life different from other ways of life? Like, why is Muslims different from Buddhists? And why is Buddhist different from Christianity? And the Muslims that I talked to could feel the weight of the question and knew the importance of it. So they always made time. And they always made sure that I understood the explanation. And then I got a book, little 5-page booklet that said, Prophet Muhammad, the seal. And I thought, okay, from the time I've talked to Muslims, I've heard about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But I want to know who was this guy? Like what about him made him a prophet? Why was he picked?
What's special about him?
So the questions got very serious then, because I at this point I was literally walking up to Muslims with a Quran in my hand going, okay, this Quran is 10 years old from this one, but the Arabic is the same. How can you explain that? When the Bible, there's thousands of translations and none of them make sense and none of them are the same. What is it about this book that not the English, the Arabic script was perfect. It didn't matter which one I had. And then that's when they would tell me, well, you know, the Quran wasn't written like the Bible was written. It was revealed to Prophet Muhammad from Allah.
Yes.
He basically had a direct pipeline. And that's why even to this day and age, you can get a Quran from 1932 and 1924 this year and look at the script and it's going to be the exact same.
Yes.
So the questions got real serious. It's like, well, okay, to be a Muslim, you believe in this, 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 and this. What happens if I don't? I mean, I've been through a form of Jahannam on earth. How much worse could it be after this? And I was talking to a Muslim.
So all these questions and meeting with Muslims in wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the wheelchair, and then as I came out of the wheelchair.
What happened?
How
How you came out?
Allah caused the nerves around the L1 to not be irritated. What had happened is all the nerves swelled up around it and they basically choked it off.
Yes.
And that's why I was paralyzed.
Yes.
Well, after 7 years, they just...
Without any physical therapy, without any
medicine. I mean, I used to go to physical therapy twice a week, but it was for, you know, lifting weights and rolling the wheelchair and nothing for my legs because they're, you know, they're not working. So.
But it came to you like one time that you talked to God directly. Even you don't know that He's Allah.
Right.
But you talk to Him about your situation and you pray to Him, ask Him for help.
Yeah.
It happened.
And it happened.
Oh, okay.
At that point, I knew God was God, and I knew the things that He could do. So I said, look, I don't...
What you said? What did you say to Allah at that time?
Basically, I was sitting in my living room. I said, look, I'm mad at you. You know, I've had a horrible childhood and a horrible life. And now this on top of it. And you're supposed to be this loving, forgiving God. But here I am in a wheelchair. What's going on? I said, you know what? This is what we're going to do. If you want to get my attention, get my attention. I wasn't specific.
Just like this?
Yeah, just like a regular conversation.
Oh.
And I said, if you have me asking all these people all these questions, trying to get my attention, if you want my attention, get my attention. Do something spectacular. Do something out of the ordinary. Do something that can't be done. And I'm not talking about show me a rainbow or, you know, make the sun come up in the morning. Do something to get my attention.
Give me a sign, miracle.
Yeah, something. And
But you're not specifically talking about...
I was not specific. I didn't specifically say, make my legs work. Or I just said, get my attention. And 3 days later...
3 days later.
Allah got my attention. I was sitting in my wheelchair and I was looking at my foot. And my wife asked me what was wrong. And I said, well, my foot itches.
Itches.
And she said, honey, you're paralyzed from the waist down. You can't feel your foot. And I said, you know, I'm a grown man. I know what an itch feels like. And my foot itches. And that started it. It started to wake up with my right foot, like the sole of my foot, the bottom of my foot. in between my heel and my ball. And an hour later, I could wiggle my toes, and then they rushed me to the hospital because they wanted to make sure like it wasn't something worse.
What the reaction of doctors when they saw this miracle?
Oh, they tried to medically and scientifically explain it. They completely avoided the fact that it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that did it. Well, over time, the nerves, it's
But
like
they are the same people that they said no
the
hope.
same people that said I was going to be paralyzed for the rest of my life.
And now,
And now I'm moving my legs, looking at them going, did you miss that day in school? Did you miss that part in medical school? Did you? So, so they kept me in the hospital for about 6 or 7 days just to, make sure everything was okay. And I started to go to therapy for my legs. And at this point, I could move them, but I couldn't like stand or walk or really function because the muscles had been asleep for so long.
yes.
After about a year and a half, I could walk with a cane. I'd have a cane and I could walk. And about 2 years after that, I could just
It
pretty
takes 2
much.
years to work up muscles,
Yeah, so
bring back to the life.
after 2 years, I could walk without a cane or a walker, and and for a while I was a little skeptical, like, oh, are they gonna turn back off again? Is it, and the whole time.
What's the reaction of your son at that time?
Um,
Because from
he kind of thought it was like a game. Like because he didn't get the concept of,
Because this is,
he'd always known me in a chair, so he
Yeah.
didn't, I was standing up and he would look at me like
so he thought that
like
you were
well,
playing with him.
Yeah, it's like hide and go seek or something. What's going on?
Subhanallah.
Because he's only known me in a wheelchair, so for him to see me standing up, like, you're kind of big guy. What's going on here? And we kept the wheelchair. We had the wheelchair still in the house, and he would go get it
Yeah.
and look at me like,
Yeah, you still need it.
do we need this thing? What's going on here? So, yeah. So they, Allah did what He did. I don't know what He did, but I know He did it. And now I can walk and run and ride motorcycles and work 12 hours a day and like nothing ever happened. Yeah, and then my wife and I were living in California with our son, and we're going on 5 weeks now.
5 weeks.
Yeah, a drunk driver.
5 weeks from today.
Yeah. A drunk driver came down the wrong way down a street.
So you are today in May 11. Today,
Yeah, today's the 12th, yeah.
May 12.
Yeah.
So April 20 something.
Yeah, like the toward the end of April, yeah.
2024.
Yeah. Drunk driver came down the wrong way down the street and caused a head-on collision with my wife and son.
They were in the car.
They were in the car, yeah. They were coming back from preschool. She went and picked him up from, they call it preschool here. It's like
Yes.
before kindergarten kind of thing.
So he's old?
He was 6.
6. Oh.
Yeah, he was 6, and he was coming from school, and somebody decided to drink alcohol and be dumb enough to drive a car, and he hit my wife head on, and all of them passed at the scene. The drunk driver, my wife, and my son. So
Sorry to hear that.
But-
May Allah give you sabr, patience.
But it's now that I believe that everybody is Muslim from the time you're born. You're either just conscious or not conscious of that fact. Now that I'm a conscious Muslim and I look back at everything that occurred in my life.
If you lost your wife, your son,
Right.
the same day,
Yeah.
and you find yourself alone in this life,
Yeah.
so it's very hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, but if having the life I've had before Islam brought me to Islam, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So until that day, you still not Muslim.
Not Muslim.
Okay. Tell us what happened next day.
No, so I buried my wife and my son, paid off all the bills, the funeral bills and the whatever bills we had. I had a $10,000 Harley Davidson motorcycle, and I rode it from one city to the other, and looked at a guy that was by the airport and said, "Do you got $100?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "You can buy that for $100."
Unbelievable.
And he looked at me like,
Crazy, yes.
"Are you on drugs or are you just insane? Which one is it?" And I go, "Look, I know this sounds crazy, but I have gone through a lot, and in the morning I'm getting on an airplane and I'm going to Hawaii, so I can't take it with me. I have the title," and I showed him the title. I said, "See, here's the title. Here's my identification. You see that everything matches. Give me $100, and it's all yours." And once he realized that it was like a legitimate thing, he handed me $100. I signed a title over to him, and the next morning I got on an airplane and flew to Hawaii. So I have been Muslim for 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So you came to Hawaii?
Came to Hawaii, kind of walked around in a fog the first couple days, like not sure where to go, what to do. And I finally just Googled the Islamic mosque on Google, it's the closest Muslim mosque to me. This mosque came up. And I said, okay. So I walked here an hour and a half, and I got here. Because I'd only had, at that point in my investigation, I only had one question left, was what was a jinn? Because I had asked brothers about jinns before, and it was either they didn't know or it was a very vague answer. So that's why I asked when I met you, that's why that was the question I asked, is what is a jinn? Because at that point in my investigation and in my search for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I knew I wanted whatever it was that Islam was. I wanted it. I wanted to be Muslim. But all my questions had not been answered yet. And until they were, I wasn't going to.
Yes. So you left California just to leave any place, any memory?
Yeah, because in California it was, oh, we went there, oh, we did this, oh, we saw that. And it was too much to be there and go, oh, we had dinner there, or my wife dropped her Pepsi over there, or so I literally walked into the airport, and I walked up to the flight counter and said, "I need a one-way plane ticket." And she goes, "Okay." And I'm standing there. because I hadn't really ever flown before, so I didn't know how airports work. So she's standing there. I'm like, I want a one-way plane ticket. She's like, okay, where would you like a one-way plane ticket to? And behind her there was a map of the United States.
So until this moment,
Right.
you didn't decide where you go.
Had no idea where I was going. I looked at the map behind her and went, Hawaii. And she goes, okay. And I'm standing there with money in my hand. I'm waiting for her to tell me how much. And she's looking at me like, I don't know, I had a purple head or something. And she goes, I said, ma'am, are you going to help me? She goes, yeah. Where in Hawaii? And I went, oh, there's multiple places I can go. She goes, yeah. I go, the biggest part of it. She said, well, that would be Hawaii. I said, well, that's what I just said, Hawaii. She, because I didn't know there was an island called Hawaii.
Yes, a big island.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know this, so she just said Hawaii, and I went, that's what I said, Hawaii.
It's big in the size,
Yeah.
but not in
So I said, she said, well, what are you looking for? I said, well, where are the most people? And she said, well, that would be Honolulu. I said, fine, give me a one-way plane ticket to Honolulu. And I came here. Never been to Hawaii, don't know anybody in Hawaii. And like I said, when I got here, I walked around kind of in a fog for the first few days, and then Googled the mosque. And now that I'm Muslim,
So you came to me ask about the jinn.
Yeah.
Still not Muslim yet.
still not Muslim yet.
Yeah.
So I asked you what was a jinn, and you went, jinn. That's easy. So I was like, oh, this guy's got a sense of humor. That's good. And you told me what a jinn was, and you were very specific about what a jinn is without being overloading. Because sometimes people answer a question and they give you all this information, and you just needed a little part, and they give you everything. But you were very specific without being overloading, very clear in the answer. And that's why I looked at you and said, okay, I want to take my shahada and be Muslim. Because the final question had been answered. But now that I've been Muslim, every day I get up and I spend probably 2 hours before Fajr just thinking about everything that occurred in my life. And what I'm doing is I'm not that I'm placing Allah there, but I'm looking for him there. Like, oh, when this was going on, where was Allah? Where was Allah? Where? And I can see him in every point that I'm looking. He was there. He did this. He sent this. So for me to go through everything I've gone through, and to wind up here in Hawaii, and to wind up a Muslim, and to be able to say La ilaha illallah, it was all worth it.
Muhammad Rasulullah.
It was all worth it.
Yes.
Because now I am the richest man in the world.
Really? Yeah.
Because I have something that money can't buy. I have something that material things can't buy. I have something that nobody can take away except me. The only way I lose this is to turn away from Allah.
Allah, Allah, Allah.
That will never happen. He has brought me through all that pain and all that tragedy. He has brought me to this point in my life where I get to do what he created me to do, and that is to worship and serve him in its truest form, and that's Islam. I'm the
Yes.
richest guy in the world.
That's very emotional words. And you told me that Allah took your son, your wife,
Yeah.
but He gave you Islam,
But he gave me Islam.
and it worth it.
You can't beat that.
Oh.
You can't beat, like, yeah, I lost my wife and son, but look what Allah replaced it with. Islam.
Yes.
I get to stand in front of my Creator at the minimum 5 times a day and worship Him and know I'm doing exactly what He created me for.
MashaAllah. May Allah accept your repentance and forgive your sins and give you the hereafter that you can meet your son and your wife.
Inshallah.
Because your wife died what we called fitra.
Right.
Because until she died, you are not Muslim
Right.
and you not know clear message about Islam.
Right.
So it's up to Allah that He accept her as Ahl al-Fitra. Ahl al-Fitra means people not know enough about Islam and
Right.
they not reached by Muslims or by da'wah.
Right.
And your son, of course, is 6 years old.
Yeah.
He's innocent, underage child. Inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gather you and your family in Jannah, inshallah. You always ask questions, and your question is practical.
Right.
The question always is practical. What you advise to Muslim Ummah here in America to deliver the message to people that they need it? From your experience, from your
Right.
this long journey to Islam.
Right.
So, what's your advice to first to imams?
Right.
How they reach non-Muslims, how they improve their methods of da'wah, that you wish that you find it in young age, and what is your advice to Muslim community as general, as like individual Muslims?
My message to imams would just be an imam. Show whatever ummah you are in charge of, or whatever ummah you have, show them what it means to be Muslim in everything. Show the ummah, it's okay to wear your thobe, or it's okay to wear your kufi or your turban, or it's okay to, instead of making asr at the mosque, today we're going to go to the park. And we're going to make salah in the middle of the park, and everybody's going to see us, and who cares? Be Muslim. Don't try not to focus so much on, oh, they're going to think I'm a terrorist, or I'm crazy, or, stuff like that. What people say about how I dress is irrelevant. So you want to stare at me because I'm wearing a thobe or because I have a kufi? Go ahead. And to the ummah, just be Muslim. Wear your kufi, and if somebody asks you a question about Islam, take the time to answer it. And if you don't have time right then, make time. Say, look, I don't really, like the one brother did with me, look, I really don't have time, I'm with my family, But look, here's my phone number. Give me a call. In a couple hours, you can ask me anything you want.
Great, yes.
If you have a mosque, let your neighborhood know. Go for a walk after Asr, before Maghrib. Go walk through the neighborhood. Let people see you, because people fear what they don't know. And if they don't know you, they're going to fear you. And fear creates misunderstandings. If somebody's afraid of you, they're not going to want to talk to you. So show them Muslims are regular people.
Great.
Yeah.
Valuable, very valuable advices,
Right.
especially it comes from somebody like you
Right.
that experienced
Right.
this beautiful, tragical journey to Islam. And I recommend you to read the journey of Salman al-Farisi. Salman al-Farisi, he went through difficulties to
Right.
find Islam. So if you have time, just read
I definitely will.
Salman al-Farisi.
Okay.
So you remind me of Salman al-Farisi. You choose the name Abulhadi.
Yeah.
And yesterday when you informed that I'm leaving Hawaii to
Yeah. Wasn't happy.
it gives me like we know each other for 20 years.
Yeah.
We just know each other for a couple of days,
Couple days.
and this is the beauty of Islam.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm like, wait, you're going where? No, I'm going with you. You can't leave without me. And we will always, you will, regardless of where Allah takes us in this world, when I refer to you to other people, I will always refer to you as my Imam. This is my Imam.
It is my honor.
Yeah, so you will always be my Imam, regardless of how much distance, space, or time is between us.
Yes, and I am so lucky to meet you before I leave Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I will remember you, and feel free to call me anytime.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm calling you after every prayer and asking my questions.
yes. Also, you can buy one-way ticket to
Yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah, you ain't getting away from the questions after prayer that easy by
Yeah.
running to Ohio.
Yes, if
So-
you want, you can buy one-way ticket to Ohio.
There
and
you
we
go.
welcome to you there. Alhamdulillah, this is a gift from Allah that guide you to Islam because you
Yeah.
deserve it.
Yeah,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you because you deserve it.
yeah.
And inshallah, by the time you increase your knowledge, and I wish that one
Yeah.
day you'll be an imam too.
Well, I don't know
Because-
about that.
Why not?
It's
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I found you
Right,
a seeker of knowledge.
right.
You have mentality that convincing people
Right.
easily. So this is the first step
Yeah.
of become
Well,
da'iyah,
I
at least da'iyah. Not,
I
if
will,
you not
I
be
will
imam.
try. I will try to do or
Da'wah.
go wherever Allah Subhanahu wa Taala wants me to.
Yeah, there is da'iyah
Uh huh.
and imam and scholar. This different level. So if you do, if it's hard for you to be imam or scholar, just be
Yeah.
da'iyah. Call other people to Islam.
Well.
Because especially you are American born.
Right.
You know the culture.
Right.
And they may listen to you and accept from you more
Yeah.
than anybody else.
Well, I definitely don't have a problem talking to people about Islam. It's kind of like if you like you're on a ship out at sea and you see a lighthouse and the lighthouse is lit up. So you're lost, but then you see the light from the lighthouse and you know, oh, if I steer the ship toward that light, I'll get to where I'm going. That's what Islam is for me. It's my light. It's what keeps me focused. It's what keeps me grounded and centered. That as long as I see the light of Islam, regardless of what's going on, I know everything will be okay.
And my advice to you is to stick with Quran, recitation, understanding.
Right.
If you can memorize some of it, but this is the hablullah, the rope
Right.
that you stick on and take you to the other side.
Yeah.
Quran,
Inshallah.
and then Sunnah Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Learn the life of Prophet Muhammad
Right.
sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the seerah called seerah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
live with it and live in it.
Yeah.
Okay, learn the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Start with small books like Riyadh al-Salihin, so Quran
Right.
and Riyadh al-Salihin.
Okay.
After you finish Riyadh al-Salihin, you can
Move to the next
yes,
thing.
Yes, it's very nice to see you and meet you,
Yeah.
brother Abulhadi, and welcome to Islam.
Thank you.
Inshallah, all the dua for you, inshallah, for your future safety, for happiness. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi
Thank you.
wabarakatuh.